Hi, welcome to Cap at Home. I'm Miss Van. I am broadcasting from our studio today, and we are going to do a project called 3D Mixed Media and Paper Sculpture. So I started with 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper for the base of my sculpture. I also have this piece of cardboard backer that I painted with black acrylic paint to give it kind of a matte background. You can see here, it just adds a little bit more drama to the effect of the image. And for this project, I used a few different old pieces of notes and drawings. These are old just journal entries, and they just kind of add some like additional texture to my collage. I'm also going to show you how to use wet paper sculpting techniques to make some three-dimensional figures. You're also going to want some glue. So this is a white school glue mixed half and half with water. You'll want some assorted paint brushes. This is a wider paintbrush to apply the background layer of the acrylic black paint. So it goes a lot quicker if you use a wider paintbrush to do this larger area. And then I have a finer detail round brush here to kind of get in the details of my face sculpture here. So I'm just going to jump right in. I've already added some three-dimensional elements to this paper to give it some contrast. So I'm using a lot of bright colors. I'm also using some bubble wrap that I've already used in a previous printing project. So it just has this sort of fun polka dot texture. So to give this a little bit more three-dimensional shape, I'm going to add some glue here to this surface and glue down this sort of round piece of, this is like napkin tissue paper. And I'm going to go over the flat side of this bubble wrap I already cut into a circle. And I'm just adding some fun dimensional objects, three-dimensional objects, to give this collage a little bit more depth. So I'm just going to hold this down for a second. And I'm going to go over that again with some tissue here. And this napkin is actually 2-ply. So I'm going to pull it apart. Oh, I guess it's only 1-ply. Cool. So I'm just going to use some scissors here and trim this into a more rounded shape. And then for cleanup, I have off to the side here a garbage can with a trash bag in it. And I'm just going to take these small pieces here and just sort of throw them away as I go to keep my work surface a little bit more tidy. So I'm going to actually paint over the tissue with the glue and water solution. To get it to stick to the bubble wrap. And as you can see here, once it dries, you'll see the polka dots kind of come through the tissue paper. And I'm going to add some color to it with some watercolor paints I only use the acrylic paint for the background because it's thicker. So it just gives a more even coat of paint. And you can already see that the fun polka dots coming through here. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and then I'm going to show you how to sculpt features out of some paper. So I've got this piece of notebook paper, and you want sort of a wide, shallow bowl. It's just going to be a little bit more stable. And I'm repurposing some old notes, but I also just really like the way that the ink looks on the page, and it will kind of make some cool texture as well. And I'm just kind of folding it into a flat oval shape, so it's sort of flat on the back so it can be glued to this flat surface. And I'm just gonna pinch here to make places for eyes. And it's just gonna be kind of a face shape. I've also got some yarn here that I tied together and trimmed. That's going to be the hair on my little face here. So I'm just adding some glue to the back. And I'm going to put that here. So you see this nice straight edge that I have on the backing board here. I got that by applying just some masking tape to the edge of the cardboard before I started painting. That way it doesn't curve so much on you. It'll stay flat, and you just leave that there until it is completely dry. But since this is dried ahead of time, I'm just going to keep going. So I'm going to make some eyes, and I'm just going to make a whole bunch of uniform little balls of this paper here. So I've got two balls that are going to be the eyes, and then I'm going to make another pair, I should say, to be the nostrils on your nose. And these don't match, so I'm going to add a little bit more to this other one here. This one's a little bigger still. All right, so these two are closer. And I'm going to make the nose, so the bridge of the nose is just going to be one coil. On the side of the nose, I'm going to have these two little matching balls of paper. And then the eyes. Right there. And then to make a mouth, I'm going to make another little coil that sort of tapers on either end. And this is going to be super long, so this is going to be enough for both the top and the bottom lip on my little face sculpture. And I'm kind of running out of chin. So I'm going to add another little piece of paper here, just to like give a little bit more chin to my sculpture. And you know, sculpting is a very additive process, but sometimes you'll add a piece and you'll realize it doesn't quite fit. So then you're going to add it and you're going to take it away. And it's going to take a few tries to get it exactly right. But don't be discouraged because it's going to look great when you're done. So I'm just going to add another piece of tissue over the top layer just to give it a little bit more uniformity. And that's just going to sort of finish out the face shape. And then I'm going to add the lips. And you can just apply the glue right over the tissue paper. So again, this is half Elmer's school glue and half water. Now to make the bottom lip, I'm going to give this small coil a little bit of a taper on either end. And now my little friend is smiling. So now I'm going to add another piece of tissue to create eyelids. So I've got sort of a top and bottom eyelid, and I'm just going to glue this right over the top of this sculpture, and it's just going to look like eyelids. And now I'm going to do the bottom half of the eyelids, and that's also going to cover up to the Cupid's bow right above the top lip. So that's going to add just a little layer of skin. I'm going to kind of just fold it up, and you'll see the nose come together. And you can kind of use part of your paintbrush to sort of add some finishing details to your face sculpture. And I'm just going to let that sit and kind of let the glue sink in a little bit. And I'm going to work on this hair. So I just tied a couple of small pieces of yarn together. And then I would sort of use my fingers to pull apart the yarn here. I'm going to show you, this is going to be the bang. So I'm actually going to put this on first. So I'm just going to pull out these twists, and it's going to look like bangs. And it's just fun to have pink hair. So I chose this nice thick pink yarn. And there's already plenty of glue on here for that piece. I'm going to add another layer for the rest of the hair here. So it's more or less. I feel like that's super cute. Okay, so now I'm gonna give my little sculpture a top and a bottom. So I got this little doodle from a while ago, and I really liked it, so I'm going to use it. And I'm just going to make a shirt. I'm actually going to make it a little bit wider because I'm going to stuff it so it looks three-dimensional. Some legs. So I'm going to cut that out. And she's got this like super fun jumpsuit. So I'm going to use this tissue paper to be her torso. And she's just going to have kind of a chibi, like a cute body. And then these are going to be the arms. And I'm going to give her some legs as well. And then she's kind of going to be walking on this cool little piece of electric colored landscape. And I'm going to make this piece of paper a little bit more pliable by adding it to the water. And I'm adding a little glue here. And I like how this is kind of creating its own texture. All the ink just kind of comes out of the page from the water. And I'm just going to use a pretty generous amount of glue here to hold all that down. Man, I'm just really in love with this little doodle I did. I think that would be a really cute jumpsuit. Okay. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to do the makeup and add some other details. So I've got this nice cold water. I'm going to use this brush. And I've got a set of watercolor over here to add. So I'm gonna give her some lipstick. And I'm gonna give her green eyes. And this sort of foresty green. And it's gonna match her jumpsuit. And I'm gonna find a nice skin tone that I like. So I'm gonna mix. I'm gonna do a couple of layers. On my example, I used sort of a skin tone, like a beige napkin for tissue, so I didn't have to paint. Give it a go. And so I'm gonna put it back on again. Warm up the cheeks a little bit. Now for my last piece of detail, I'm going to add some bright colors to this round three-dimensional object here. I'm going to give it kind of like a tie-dye look. I really like this shade of violet. So you can totally sculpt with wet paper. It's super fun. It's super simple. And I hope you liked my video today. If you happen to do a similar sculpture, we'd love to see it. And so you can post it in the comment section of this video. And we'll see you next time.